But UConn, there's still hope. The women are the only ones that have won, as they know in stores. The fellas, though, have a tough act to follow. They got a tough act to follow. And I'm sure we'll get into it more on Wednesday, God willing, the creek don't rise, once we see whether UConn is the first team to go back-to-back since Florida, or whether Purdue finally wins its first national championship. You know how I feel about Quentin Tarantino movies. Pulp Fiction is my favorite movie of all time. But I've been watching a lot of Hateful Eight lately. But Kill Bill, volumes 1 and 2, classics, absolute classics. Do you remember the scene in volume 2? He's furious. Call that the silent treatment. And let them think we don't like it. You remember the scene where L is bringing over the money for the Hattori Hanzo sword to Bud's trailer? And this is after he's buried Beatrix, giving her the Texas funeral. And then he says, so which R are you filled with? It's like you're filled with regret or relief that your rival, Beatrix, is what they thought was dead. Regret or relief? Which R are you filled with? So I'll ask you, which R are you taking tonight? You taking the repeat from seemingly inevitable UConn, or you're taking redemption after losing to a 16 seed last year, Purdue, winning his first championship? You're taking Zach Edey or Donovan Clingan?
This has been, and tonight we'll wrap it up. This tournament season. This has been so entertaining. I love all the stories from the men's tournament and the women's tournament. A lot of great moments, but this may be the first time that I have predicted both champions, because it's probably the chalkiest. Even though it's a great tournament, it's probably the chalkiest tournament I've seen. I didn't pick UConn over Purdue. I don't know who I had in the national championship game. It was not Purdue, but I had UConn.
But you definitely had UConn. Yeah,
UConn. So I'm going with repeat. UConn will win it. I had South Carolina over Iowa in the women's tournament. That's exactly what happened. So I don't think there's really any surprise. Purdue, I'll admit, Purdue, I've got if you're not Michigan State, this is like the last 15 years, if you're not Michigan State, I generally just kind of downgrade Big Ten basketball teams. And it's just like a bias I have. Big Ten basketball, I have a bias the other way for Big Ten football teams. The Big Ten basketball teams have just disappointed in so many areas. So I've seen, Michigan State's been the champion, but I've seen Purdue. I like the Purdue. I've seen this story before. Like, here we go. So I picked Purdue to lose in the second round. Not because I don't think Edey is great. He is. I'm like, they're going to do something. They just always do something to screw it up. So they have changed my perspective. They have my respect, and they didn't have it at the beginning of the tournament. I'll be honest with you. I didn't really think they had what it took to win several games in the tournurnament. But that being said,
I bet your money. Let's just focus. We both agree. Like, UConn feels inevitable. They're just so dominant.
It's going to be a great game, though. High scoring game. Great one.
Okay, so that's what all right, Mr. I was going to ask you this, because really with this UConn, it's not whether you'll beat them, but whether you'll keep it close. Like they only beat Bama by 14. I think their last 11 tournament games, they won by an average of 22.3 points. Does UConn cover? I think we showed that 7-point favorites. That's the real question. Not whether UConn wins. Sorry, Purdue, but by how much do Dan Hurley and UConn win and repeat as national champions? By how much?
I don't think they cover.
Double digits?
I don't think they cover. I don't think it's a double-digit win. I think they win the game.
Okay, so you got a classic. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great game, but I think UConn they've just got too much. There's some point in the game where they're just going to take it over. But I can see, man, this being like an up
I think Clingan is going to take Edey's lunch money. I think he takes Edey's lunch money tonight. I mean,
really?
I mean, stylistically.
So you're not a fan?
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not a fan, but I prefer Clingan. Like this is a lot like, and I'm not saying they're the same player. I'm not saying they're the same player, but this is such an old school throwback big man matchup. Again, just reiterate. Yep. I'm not saying they're the same players, okay? But this is Olajuwon versus Shaq. Love Shaq. He ain't had nothing for Olajuwon. you know what I'm saying? Orlando Shaq had nothing for Hakeem Olajuwon, great as Orlando Shaq was. Likewise, I don't think Edey got anything for Clingan. Nothing for that kid.
But I like this. Like, think about this. We used to have these. Like, when's the last time you saw? We're usually talking about
two bigs like this,
dynamic guard, some like swingman, or like some perimeter player, but a big man matchup. That's like a heavyweight fight. Like that's something from a different. Right. That's a different time altogether. Right. What? A heavyweight fight with two legit good heavyweights.
Right.
Oh, a 15 round heavyweight fight to really take it back to the old school. So I think it is going to be one of those. It was, Olajuwon, Ewing, Elijah in college, that kind of thing. One of those. Yeah. One of those matchups. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be close, and I don't think it's good. There will be no lunch money taken. I disagree with you. There will be no lunch money taken tonight.
But you are putting your money. I'm about to say you are putting your money on Purdue. I guess a 7-point spread. Okay, I like it. You're taking Purdue there.
Feels like a 95 to 90 kind of game.
95 to 90?
95.
95 to 90? Woo.
95. Maybe overtime. May go to.
I'm about to say they're definitely going overtime. 95 to 90.
I feel like I've seen this. I feel like I've seen this game before. I feel like I've seen it. So I'm very confident.
95 to 90.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.